Nu, latviešiem ir tāda bērnu dziesmiņa. Pēterīts ar Miķelīti abi gāja bekas laust seņot. Abi divi piekusuši, nevar beku kustināt. Paēduši, padzēruši, nu var beku kustināt. Nu, mēs arī tagad paēduši drusciņu, padzēruši, varam turpināt mūsu sanāksmi. Un es ar lielu gandarījumu dodu vārdu Gabi kundzei.
Ja, danke schön, aber ich hoffe, dass wenn wir schon in der Situation sind, dass wir beim Pilzesammeln müde werden, dass wir noch so aufmerksam sind, dass wir uns keine Giftpilze mit in den Korb legen und vor allem keine Vergiftungen dann einholen. Aber vielleicht ist das sogar ein Übergang mit dem Vergifteten. Ich glaube, ein Merkmal, was durchaus ja auch für Vergiftung von Beziehungen untereinander steht, ist ja die Frage der ökonomischen Ungleichheiten, der ökonomischen Imbalances. Und bei der Schilderung, was die Ursachen für die Krise in Lettland sind, hatte ich so den Eindruck, dass der Fokus doch mehr oder weniger auf das gerichtet war, was innerhalb des Landes stattfand und die Fragen, wie man sich jetzt auch im Verhältnis zu den anderen Ländern positioniert und vor allem versucht, diese Imbalances, also die Ungleichheiten aufzulösen oder dagegen zu wirken, dass das noch ein Stückchen außerhalb des Fokus war. Das würde mich noch mal interessieren, wie insbesondere aus den Erfahrungen von Lettland als einem Mitglied der EU, das bis zum jetzigen Zeitpunkt nicht in der Eurozone war, wie diese Kooperation, diese wirtschaftliche, finanzielle Handelskooperation tatsächlich sich ausgewirkt hat, auch diese Ungleichgewichte sich ausgewirkt haben. Das ist der eine Punkt. Der zweite, den ich ansprechen möchte, ich habe sehr genau auch mit hingehört zur Frage der Abwanderung von jungen Leuten, vor allem auch qualifizierten Leuten, 200.000 für ein so kleines Land mit einer relativ kleinen Bevölkerungszahl sind gravierend. Meine Erfahrung, ich komme aus einer ostdeutschen Region, in der ebenfalls sehr viele Abwanderungen innerhalb kürzester Zeit stattgefunden haben, Geburtenrate sich drastisch reduziert hatte und wir haben es bis heute, also 15, fast 20 Jahre danach nicht geschafft, diesen Prozess tatsächlich umzukehren. Menschen wieder zurückzuholen, die weggegangen sind. Wir leiden in unseren Regionen, in einigen der ostdeutschen Regionen inzwischen über einen drastischen Arbeitskräftemangel, Facharbeitermangel. Ganze Städte halbieren sich in einem Zeitraum von ungefähr 20 bis 25 Jahren fast auf die Hälfte der Bevölkerungszahlen, was zu drastischen Verwerfungen auch für die Infrastruktur führt. Also wie sollen die 200.000 oder sagen wir mal ein wesentlicher Teil dieser Menschen, die abgewandert sind, auch wirklich wieder zurückgewonnen werden? Gibt es dazu wirklich auch schon Konzepte? Und der dritte Punkt, den ich ansprechen muss, der ist natürlich eng mit der Frage der wirtschaftlichen Erholung, der Krisenbewältigung verbunden. Aus meiner Sicht kann man es nicht lösen, die Frage des ökonomischen Wachstums mit der Frage der sozialen Ausgeglichenheit und vor allem mit dem Kampf gegen Armut, gegen prekäre Jobs. Auch für die Frage der Arbeitsverträge, die Sicherheit der Arbeitsverhältnisse selber betrifft, die Zukunftsfähigkeit von Arbeitsplätzen betrifft. Und wir wissen alle, dass in der EU die Frage, was Arbeitsplatzentwicklung betrifft, dass das eine sehr, sehr abgehobene Diskussion ist, weil die tatsächliche Lage der Menschen überhaupt nicht berücksichtigt. Oftmals werden Jobs schon mit 2-3 Stunden in der Woche als Arbeitsplätze gerechnet. Und mich würde da einfach interessieren, wie das hier in Lettland aussieht. Wie schätzen Sie die Entwicklung hier entsprechend ein? Und der letzte Punkt, der auch im Zusammenhang damit steht, Sie sprachen vorhin davon, dass sie spezielle Erfahrungen gemacht haben bei der Anwendung, also sehr innovativ gewesen sein bei der Anwendung der Strukturfonds, der Fördermöglichkeiten für Lettland. Mit der Diskussion um den jetzigen Europäischen Sozialfonds geht es ja vor allem auch darum, dass der Fokus eindeutig auf also darauf liegt, Arbeitskräfte für die entsprechenden Beschäftigungsmöglichkeiten fit zu machen und wegzugehen davon, dass beispielsweise auch wirklich Projekte im Kampf gegen Armut finanziert werden. Also eine Verschiebung hier innerhalb der vorgesehenen Anteile des ESF vorzunehmen. Mich würde interessieren, wie Sie dazu stehen, ob das für Lettland unproblematisch ist aus Ihrer Sicht und wie wir das dann praktisch auch weiter mit in die Diskussion, in die Verhandlungen mit dem Rat mit aufnehmen können von Ihrer Seite her.
Actually, I try to answer the European Social Foundation, and the things what European Social Foundation did was extremely important, and actually, I think it's seriously increased role and understanding of European Union, and it generates sympathy to European Union in that time. Because in like 2009 and 2010. This role was extremely significant, and actually I give since I'm from the academic field, it was very significant to pay some fees for Latvian scientists, and European Social Fund helped not to leave for 3 years Latvian scientists in that crisis time, but since Latvian government is saying recovery is coming, we are ready to Eurozone, all these things is stopped, and there is no any money for Latvian scientists next year. All these people is without any money. The European Social Foundation stopped any help. Latvian government said, okay, everything is over, everything is right, we are moving, we are growing, and no any cent is given for a science at all. It means these people will leave next year. Mass of these people will leave next year. If you're talking about social inequality, then it's not success story what crisis was solved. I am 4 kids' father. There was some small fee what's paying for every kid, and if you have more than one, then it's a bit higher. If you have more than 2, it was more higher. And actually, in 2009, this payment was decreased twice, just 50%, and actually all this money that I can deduct from the taxes was seriously decreased in crisis time, and it was not restored yet. It means this way how Latvian government sold the Latvian government. I'm not talking about the European Social Foundation, where is a lot of sympathy to what they did, but actually for the Latvian government, it's generated a lot of hate and of course. When you ask a question about how to return people, it's on our government. They have a plan where is how to return people. I laugh a lot, but it's seriously written in the plan to increase number of foreigners in the doctoral studies in Latvia. It's a way how they try to return people from abroad to Latvia. It's very nice. I laugh a lot about that. It's a very nice plan. But actually, in my mind, if you look at people in Latvia, there is no question how to return people. What is leaving? Now they are leaving. They are happy. They have more money about our salaries. They have much more social benefit if they live in England for every children, etc., etc. But I think the serious question is what to do. How let people is staying here if nothing is done. It's stupid idea now start working to return people that have 5 times higher salary in Great Britain or Germany compared to the people that are now trying to leaving this country next 5 years. I think the first step that should be done is to do things that people are staying here, not leaving this country, not looking what to return it. If 15% of the Latvian people try to leave this country in next 5 years, why you like to return somebody back if this storm is so hard? And one of my students, he was walked through the Latvian rural area, and he asked for these people who are saying they plan to leave Latvia, what you need? It was a very simple answer: job. Only one answer. They need a job. And when, but there is no any plan how to build up the jobs in Latvian countryside. If I'm wrong, please correct me.
And now we can have a look at Eastern Germany, which I usually quote when we talk about the re-emigration as an example. Very, very rich Germany spent enormous amounts to keep people in the East Germany, and it didn't work. What can we do? What is something that we can do to maintain those people here? We know from Irish experience, 20% of people want to return, of those who've left. They do want, and they are looking forward for their ways back, and some of them come when they have idea of the business, how they can, for example, supply either UK business, or they can do something in France or United States of America. Those people are there, they gain a higher level, higher understanding of what they can do, how they can sell their services, and then the only reason why they come back because they want to. There is nothing better that Latvia at its current GDP economic situation can provide, but they just do want to come back. And that's why we have the plan, because we have about 5,000 people returned this year, even though all this crisis, all these problems. And we have inquired, for example, 20 schools just randomly, 10 of them had kids returned back who have studied in other EU country. Well, I do not think that we have to wait until it's hundreds. We have to act right now, and that's why we have this plan. And I also know that economic development happens in cities. So I do believe that helping Latvian cities besides Riga is also another challenge, where how we can help to have any economic growth. Because if we will try to disseminate the small parts and bits to all the territory, looking at the amount which is necessary, according to my estimates, it's about 20 billion which we need within the next 7 years to build another 100,000 jobs. Out of them, 20% would be in manufacturing, and we don't have that money. Even the EU funds, all in total, will be less than 5 billion. So the question is how. And one of the things is, of course, we aim at the smartest, at the most experienced, at the bravest, at the most mobile, which still want to come back because they want their children to speak Latvian. They want to live in the countryside, and they can create jobs for themselves or for the others. And that's some part of emigration, which we really hope for, and that's why we try to build a bridge with them, encouraging them to think about Latvia, because maybe it will take 3 to 5 years for somebody to consider how they can do that business here. But at least we have sent a signal, and that has been the first time when Latvian government has looked ahead to people who have left and said, okay, we want you back if you are ready to. The other thing, how Latvia is solving the social inequality problem. The crisis, of course, hit the most, the richest even more, and we saw that the people who emigrated after 2009 were from the highest quintile than the past, because those who were in the lower quintile, they had left already before. They were in UK and Ireland already many years ago. But the social inequality forces us to think very heavily, because if we look at a small community where you have, for example, 10,000 people, there is someone who says, okay, I want to do confectionery, well, whatever sewing thing. And then they say, but I don't have too much money, so I cannot provide the good salary. So the question is, do we kill that business from the start? I don't know how many of you have created jobs so far, but I have. I have done a small business which started with revenues of maybe 50 lats, which is 100 euros per month, because it takes a year or two until you get there. So the question is, who's going to be that stupid person who's going to do that if you require me to pay every person immediately a high salary? And there we have a balance. Well, therefore we don't have too many startups, or we don't have too many people who want to start, because we want to be secured with long-term contracts, with a good security package. And that's a challenge, how to solve it. I don't have still a good answer, because I cannot, from one hand, I don't want to see people working for low-paid salaries, and so we do try to protect them. On the other hand, as someone who has experience what it means to establish a small business, I know that it takes 2 to 5 years to bring it up. So maybe you have comment on that, how to sort it out. Okay, we can give them money, but then what happens? They don't learn how to earn money. They learn how to live on money which we provide. If you would look at startups which are actually growing in the incubators, which are supported, they are much more frequently dying than those who started on their own. We are looking now at we have tried supporting these small businesses, and because there are generous benefits, that's better than a job, or because you don't have a job, you decide you start a business, but actually you don't fight for it, because when you are hungry, you fight for it really hard. That's my experience. That's how we were building. We got up to maybe €500,000 revenue in a small business, which is, I think, very significant in Latvia, but still it's nothing to be an export company. So I don't have very many answers, because we will have to enable those people which are ready to take risk and to establish companies with different carrots and sticks. But not all of them will be capable. And so we do believe that some of those people want to come back and look at Latvia as a place for startups. We have Italians who are moving here to start their businesses because they know that their costs on starting a business here allow them to survive 3 times more than in Italy. So we benefit from that. We know that those students who move around, who study for their doctoral studies, as Juris mentioned, they are more entrepreneurial, so they might start a business here. That's another help. That those people may find a place here to be more favorable, but then we have to be very open to them. We had a number of people with the other color of skin which left, even married with local ladies, because they didn't like here in Latvia, because they didn't feel safe for their children, and that's another risk. And it's not even that someone would hit you, but still you have that attitude from the people around you, and you decide you go to London. And now most of my friends who are married with out of my class, 20% are away from here. And they're mainly in London or in Berlin or in other big countries, all paying well, all well-paid, highly professionals. Will they come back? Some will never. I don't know if that's a reason why we would stop doing what we do. Because I know that someone wants a quick answer. How can we stop people from leaving? But how can I persuade people from leaving if I see that 60,000 people from high or low education will be unnecessary in my country within the next 10 years? If we look at the long-term labor requirements, we have a lot of requirements for highly skilled, for socially adept people, and then we don't have any source of how, okay, we can keep them on some benefits. That's what the rich countries are doing. But then I can't promote all the others which could be probably capable of making their own businesses to start doing, because the benefits are too generous. And so it's, I think, in the whole Europe, we have so many people who are living right now in other richer European countries and receiving benefits and not being socially active. It's just a question of how the other countries can sustain that. If you are able, then that's good, but we probably aren't.
Paldies, bet ļoti bēdīga izskaņa. Tā es tagad vārdu došu Georgiasam, lūdzu.
Έχει ανοίξει η συζήτηση και με την ανάλυση που έγινε εισηγητικά, αλλά και στα πλαίσια της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης, γύρω από τα ζητήματα της ανακεφαλαιοποίησης των τραπεζών, που ξεδιπλώνεται με μια σημαντική αντιπαράθεση μέσα στους ίδιους τους κόλπους της αστικής τάξης, στα κράτη-μέλη της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης, σε ό,τι αφορά τις προτεραιότητες που θα επιλογούν, αλλά και την κατεύθυνση της ανάπτυξης, σε ό,τι αφορά τις δανειοδοτήσεις, κλάδων της οικονομίας κλπ. Αντιπαράθεση που σχετίζεται με την ίδια την εξέλιξη του αστικού σχεδίου για την καπιταλιστική ανάπτυξη την επόμενη περίοδο. Υπάρχει μια αντίληψη, η αστική αντίληψη, ότι με έναν καλύτερο έλεγχο του χρηματοπιστωτικού συστήματος μπορούν δήθεν, αντιεπιστημονικά κατά την άποψή μας, ανιστόρητα, κάτι τέτοιο, να ξεπεραθούν νομοτέλειες του συστήματος, όπως οι καπιταλιστικές κρίσεις, η ανεργία, η φτώχεια, η εξαθλίωση, η πολέμη. Έχει μπει στο τραπέζι των διαπραγματεύσεων, σε αυτή τη φάση που μιλάμε, το ζήτημα του ενιαίου εποπτικού μηχανισμού στα πλαίσια της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης και επιπρόσθετα του ταμείου, το οποίο θα συμβάλλει άμεσα σε ό,τι αφορά την εξυγίαση τραπεζών ή γενικότερα συστημάτων του χρηματοπιστωτικού συστήματος. Θεωρείτε, πώς το εκτιμάτε, καλύτερα να το πω έτσι εσείς, ότι αυτό μπορεί να έχει ένα βάθος χρόνου φιλολαϊκής πολιτικής για την Λετονία, για την Ελλάδα, για την Πορτογαλία, για την Ισπανία, για τους λαούς μας, να αντιμετωπίσει τα προβλήματα? Ευχαριστώ.
Okay. In Latvian banking university, there's a professor, Ivars Bīvers, and he has some ideas about how to get out from this world European crisis, and actually, and what should be this next paradigm of the how to deal with the different sectors in European Union and on the world. And what his vision of this is the probably right way will be finance under public control, no private property in finance at all, and private should be the real economy. Because in fact, the cases what's happened now in Spain, there is actually this. It's just proved that that it's this private banking. Probably this is a last time when this is effective. It's just proved this is an effective way how to manage this industry. And if you look into the progress of the computer and IT, there is no need for a private banker to transfer money between people. This is a very simple way. Is established agency what control banking account for everyone, and we can transfer simply money to pay the businesses, pay the taxes. There is no need for a private bankers for such things at all now. Probably 100 years ago, yes, should be private banker what are keeping us banking accounts. Now it's no needs for that. And actually this should be open a question, if it's such huge bailouts was happened in Latvia, it was happened in Spain, in somewhere else, probably this is the right way to to transfer finance as just public sector.
Please, please.
Η πολιτική οικονομία, η επιστημονική πολιτική οικονομία και η ιστορία της μας δίνει πλούσια παραδείγματα και πείρα από τα μοντέλα που αναπτύχθηκαν στις χώρες μας. Δηλαδή θυμάμαι να σας πω χαρακτηριστικό παράδειγμα, γιατί τα παραδείγματα είναι και πιο άμεσα και πολύτιμα στην αξιολόγησή τους, πέρα από τη θεωρητική, που αποτελεί και τη βάση των αναλύσεων. Εν πάση περιπτώσει, τη δεκαετία του 1980, που μπήκε η Ελλάδα στην Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση, Και στην κυβέρνηση ήταν συντηρητικό πολιτικό κόμμα, το Λαϊκό Κόμμα, κρατικοποίησε τράπεζες, κρατικοποίησε στρατηγικής σημασίας επιχειρήσεις, μεταφορές, ενέργεια, τηλεπικοινωνίες. Από αυτή τη φάση περάσαμε ιστορικά. Ήρθαμε σε μια άλλη φάση, την άλλη τάση να ιδιωτικοποιούνται, και αυτό δηλαδή το τραγικό που ζούμε αυτή την περίοδο, δεν χρειάζεται τα στοιχεία να σας τα πω, είναι να επανερχόμαστε στη δεκαετία του 60 σε ό,τι αφορά την κατάσταση των εργαζόμενων στη χώρα μας, αλλά και τις αντιθέσεις με τους άλλους εργαζόμενους στα άλλα 27 κράτη-μέλη της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης. Από αυτή την πείρα εμείς πρέπει να πάρουμε κάτι και να κρατήσουμε σε ό,τι αφορά τη μελέτη μας για παραπέρα. Πώς το αξιολογείτε αυτό?
Actually, maybe it's probably right time to discuss, and maybe this is about the question what we call Washington consensus, about the conditions on basis what the European International Monetary Fund is working. And now it's not only such like Mr. Strauss-Kahn who are saying before he got a trouble on conflictations and problems. He's saying that this Washington consensus is not working, and probably it's right time to open discussion about such institution. And I think European Union have a very large influence on such institution. And one of the important point is if there is a privatization in the final of privatization is 1,000 workers is losing the job, it's not give any benefit to country. It's only losses for a country. Then that such privatization not gives any benefit, and maybe there's some ineffective system, maybe not so effective system in the case of the employment is better for some regional development than some very cost efficient system which generate 1,000 employees in the region. And of course, I think this is a question of the value. What is better? If the God is cost efficient, then of course let's build up such system. But if we try to see us different region with people, with happy people, with the families, then probably we have a need for another approach, not some deals between International Monetary Fund, World Bank and US government.
Paldies. Tā tagad vārds Nikola kungam.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed listening to two stories. The first one was quite familiar. I could tell the same story about Croatia, almost the same figures and almost the same graphs. Obviously, the country has been robbed, and the prize, the bill, came to the state, and the state transferred it to the citizens. What else could it do? What is tragic is that the bill was transferred to those low down, and the citizens paid the bill. Paid the bill by immigration, by unemployment, and by lower standards of various services. This is the thing that happened in almost all the countries of ex-socialist bloc regime. The second part of the story, the optimistic one, was characterized by 6 times I hope and 4 times I believe. I also hope and I want to believe, but it's hard to believe, really. It's hard to believe. Do you really can accept the situation that you will rectify the wrongs done in the past under the same rules under which the robbery happened? I don't know. I have no idea how this really could be done. The central question is really, what is the state for? What's its purpose? Whom does it serve? It also answers the question, what is the distribution of national wealth? If the distribution of national wealth is rather unique, uniform, then the state is for its citizens. If it is not, it is for somebody else. Now, under the rules of this somebody else, this happened. Can you change the situation under the same rules?
On the agenda of government of Latvia is one of the things that we want to move away from the labor taxation, reduce the taxation on the labor and move more to the consumption tax and to capital taxes as such. So that is something that is particularly on the agenda and which can help to change the balance between the people and the bourgeoisie, as it was mentioned. But why I do believe that was another tricky question. So, because I have been in companies where average salary is almost 1,000 euros. And I have been in companies where the average salary is below 300 euros. And I look at all those companies and I looked at, and I understand that the difference is only that some try hard and some just don't see how they can do it better. And so we have a hope that there's sufficient number of employers and business people who can create those 1,000 jobs rather than having those 300 jobs. Because for me, I don't see how we can stop emigration if we continue creating 300 euros jobs.
Of course, if you're looking theoretically, then let's to turn taxes to consumption from taxes from the personal income. Theoretically, I agree, but in fact, it's unrealistic because if we put some high taxes to the let's say Porsche cars, then people will drive to Lithuania and buy cars there because it's just 80 kilometers from the capital, and you are in Lithuania. If Latvia makes such taxes, it will not be effective. This discussion, what's happened here about the change these tax from the workforce to the consumption, I see it's very dangerous. And I think this is a great danger especially for middle class and poor people. A lot of pensioners, which have a pension from the Soviet time, it's not very high pension. They don't have high income. They have maybe some sort of 250 euros, but they traditionally live in the homes where they live. And now, if they are happy or unhappy, and if they live, for example, in Jūrmala, and if these ideas to transform to this bourgeoisie will be realized, then these people will not pay any taxes of the property. The taxes of the property where I live all life will be much higher as two pensions for two pensioners. Then such reform is not helpful for an ordinary people. This is a reform to help this speculative the person who are selling property, because then these pensioners, they move from the places where they live decades to some poor places where and I think such reform will generate not positive emotions, but it will generate, it's just sort of the war from these business elite against the local people. Actually, I very like your comment about what is the purpose of the country. The country where I live, the purpose of the country was to enjoy EU till 2004. Then we reached that. Now, till this year, the purpose was, only one purpose was declare, was enjoy Euro. Question is, what will be the purpose for a country next year? Nobody knows where we should, what we should enjoy next year. Nobody understands. And because we are NATO, we are European Union, we are Eurozone. There's no any goal for a country. Probably we should close the country next year, 1st January. But speaking seriously, this of course nice ideas. In nice ideas, sometimes you can find evil on probably the socialistic ideas. If you say these ideas, this ideal, it was very nice. It was excellent. To build up society where is equality, where is no exploitation, but finally it's converted to the some such sort of disasters what's happened in 20th century. Then I'm very cautious about such ideas to make this transformation. Of course, the very serious problem in Latvia, which is extremely, is we have higher working taxes as access taxes for alcohol or tobacco. Most taxable thing in Latvia is workforce, even if you have a €1. If I like to pay here legally €1 for you, for example, it's Latvia, I must pay €1 for taxes, two kinds of the taxes, and then I must pay €20 for accountant because I need to fill up so many forms on the declaration for taxes department. Then there should be I don't know motivation to legally pay €1 to make all these things. Of course, there was in such conditions there is a quite huge gray economy where this payment is without such formalities and without such so high taxes, where most taxable things is my workforce.
Yes, and this is the main reason we want to have at least similar taxation as it's in Lithuania and Estonia, because the work taxes in labor taxes in Latvia now are much higher, about 3% or 4% higher than in our neighboring countries. So we need to find a balance, but we are still lagging behind on the gray shadow economy. Like we need to find the ways how to extract more money, how to extract more people out of the gray economy, and that makes another challenging issue for Latvia's growth in the future, because those small companies, they don't want to grow, because if they grow, then they will be more visible, and then they will not be able to hide in the shadows so long. And we talk about employees, for example. We talk with employers who are paying all the taxes, and they say, well, if I want to find somebody who decently works, €500 is something I pay as a minimum. And then the question is why there's about 200,000 jobs which pay only €300. Where do they find those people? Where do they? Well, either they don't find those people or they pay part in an envelope, in cash, right? So we do believe that by reducing the tax, we can get out a bit more people out of the gray economy. And we slightly changed this combination by step. It took us, last year we reduced it by 1%, and this year we are again reducing 0.5% and here and now. Because really the labor taxes make most of our revenues on the local municipalities. And so they're very interested in not reducing that. Although, you know that if there will be more jobs created, they maybe get more revenues. But again, this discussion about how and where, I can only ask when I meet with people who say, okay, but we want whatever jobs just be created here. And I say what the qualification, well, we can do, and what the expectation are. Okay, we want to have €500. And then my question is, okay, but why would an investor go to Latvia, pay you €500, and you work 40 hours a week, if they can go to China, where they pay $100 per 6 days per week, very often, and okay, what you want to comment on that? But still, I think that those countries in Asia, the labor is much cheaper there. So all those unqualified jobs very often go there, not here.
Jā, paldies. Klausoties Paidera kunga stāstītiem, man ienāca prātā viena tikšanās ar jūrniekiem. Es gribu atsaukties uz to Paidera kungas daļu, ko es teicu, ka Latvijas tādiem mērķi iestāties Eiropas Savienībā, iestāties NATO, iestājies, pāriet uz Eiropu, pārgāja, ko darīt tālāk. Kādreiz Latvijā bija vairāk nekā 100 tirdzniecības kuģu. Tas ir padomju Latvijas laikā. Pēc tam tas viss tika izturgots, izzakts, un nu tikai daži kuģi vairs tirdzniecības flotē peld ar Latvijas karogu. Tiekoties ar tiem jūrniekiem, viņi man stāstīja, kā viņi pavada brīvo laiku. Filmu uz kuģi nav daudz, no sākuma to filmu rāda pareizi, un tad, kad filma ir apnikusi, tad viņi tina atpakaļ. Varbūt to pieredzi varētu izmantot. Tas ir joks, protams, bet katrā joka ir arī daļa kaut kādas taisnības. Bet tagad paklausīsimies kaut ko varbūt tādu jautrāku, ne tik bēdīgu. Latvijā Dānija tiek uzskatīta kā laba, sakārtota saimniecības ziņā, saimnieciskā ziņā, cilvēktiesību ziņā un citos jautājumos valsts. Tādēļ es ar lielu prieku dodu vārdu Sorena kungam.
Yes, thank you. All what you are saying about what could be an argument for going from here to China is argument giving in Denmark for going from Denmark to here. That's what we hear every day. We have to compete with Latvia, we have to compete with Estonia, we even have to compete with Germany. Therefore, workers have to cut down, therefore we have to make things worse. But basically, I think if you have an ambition not to compete on low wages, which is what you're doing, then there's 3 factors which is decisive. That's education, innovation, and infrastructure. I mean, if you want to compete on anything else than low wages, you have to give priorities to this. And therefore, of course, I understand in the middle of the crisis, it can be difficult to do something immediately, but at least as a government, you must have some idea, not perhaps next year, but the year after next year, how to give priorities to this. I mean, if you look at the innovation scoreboard from the EU, Latvia is number 3 from the bottom. I mean, absolutely very bad. If you look at the education, there was cuts between 2011 and 2012. I don't know, have the latest figure, but that was also, I don't know about infrastructure. But so couldn't you elaborate a little bit about what is the idea from the government or from the people responsible for developing the economy of this country in terms of investing in the future and not just only try to compete on low wages? And just one question more, because this is of course linked to the question of taxation. Are you willing to tax or are you not willing to tax? And of course you can discuss where to put the taxes. One possibility is corporate taxes, and therefore I wanted to hear what is your government's attitude to having a minimum taxation of corporate taxes in the European Union. Are you in favor of that? Because that, of course, will give a certain level for all countries of tax income. Thank you.
On my agenda, definitely innovation is a very significant issue. But I was trying already to refer that in our discussion and my presentation, that one of the major issues in Latvia is that more than 80% of R&D spending is done by state, whereas in normal countries it would be more than 50% done by private investors. So what we have done over these 2 years, we were really approaching and interviewing companies which we know are developing new products. And then we realized that even if they spend 3, 5 3 to 5% out of their revenues on R&D, it does not account in our statistics. Why? Because they don't see any need for accounting it separately. So I know number of companies which do invest in R&D significantly, but they turn it down as the administrative costs. So when we go through this challenge, we might see a bit different figure, because we couldn't grow in our exports so fast if there would not be sufficient R&D. But where the problem lies is that those companies which do R&D, they do them in-house. They do not work with scientific organizations. And therefore we have worked on the innovation vouchers, trying to link them together. So we give some money for them to work really with the institutions, because scientists are much more interested in getting EU funds on researching something there in the sky than looking at something which is now feasible, because they say that's not science. That's not interesting. That's not science. And this has been as one of the, we have cut significantly on the infrastructure, but the structural funds, thanks to the EU assistance, is also very helpful that we have those major large projects which are infrastructure built. And the education, the reform of our education is on the agenda on the government for the last 2 years. So we are doing step by step, making the education system more open. Like, while I was working on the re-immigration plan, actually we were sorting out the issue of our education being too closed. Our kids, when they go abroad, they don't have any special classes or special entertainment which they do. They don't have special schools. They go in the normal UK, Ireland, Germany's education system. And the system is so open that it's capable of taking a child who has never learned that language, and within a couple of months they are up to speed. What we need to do, we need to have a process that also those kids which are coming back are within 3 months they are up to speed. Whereas we had situations where kids are put on a class grade lower and so on just because, okay, they are not capable. No, the schools were not capable to take them on and to move them forward. Because we all need to discuss on how, on European level, how to raise the next generation in today's economy when we have a completely different challenges than they used to be 10 or 20 years ago. And I also have 3 kids, and I do understand that it's a major challenge how to grow them so that they are active, they are proactive, and still they learn a lot. So they have both skills and knowledge.
Just the first, it's very serious myth about the scientists that's looking of the skies or not like to looking what's happened in the ground. Since I'm from that field, and actually, if you say Latvian geologists, do you know what they are looking in the skies? They're looking on the ground, and they have a research what you can find in the underground, and actually without and actually in that field in a Soviet time there was 1,000 drills in Latvian land. After independency, there was any drill except one what was made by this May in consortium to try to find the oil in the shelf of the Baltic Sea. No one drill at all is financed in that time. In 1992 was finished one Soviet drill, but there was and that's all. And it shows these governments, all these governments, they didn't finance science. They put just some so poor level. It's not question about the private money or not private money. We are lowest level to finance science every country in the European Union. If you're looking into this research, this private money, private interest in research and development, what is the main investors in Latvia? What is the most richest companies in the private sector? I just mentioned it. This is a finance. It's a banks. It's a traders. It's the networks of the different trade. What research they need? What research and development they should invest? These are all private finance and money resources is concentrated there. But in real estate, it's still in the hands of the state. It's energy is in the hands of the state, like Latvian Ergo. They have some research, of course, but yeah, and of course it's if there is no and again the research is not only the business. It's if only business should finance, then you kill such field like philology. Okay, let's kill them. What you will think about the biology? We don't need that because business not need any birds. They're flying. They are disturbing the airport lines. And actually, such approach will kill a lot of fields where Latvia is extremely strong. Latvia really extremely strong in some of the chemistry. In chemistry, Latvia is very strong. But actually, as scientists working in a project which are coming from Sweden, from Germany, from somewhere else, because Latvian government not financing science at all, and they not have a plans at all. They're just talking about the business and giving the money through the business. This is a shame how to pumping out state money. They give the money for some private company to get some research, but this is the way how they not need any research. They need this money. They keep this money, take some shame, and pumping out money. This is not science. And actually, in such way, what's happened here is actually I don't know how it's happened in details in other countries, but there is a lot of good examples in European Union, like Netherlands and even Great Britain.
And here you see how the differences between the scientists and the government is quite significant. And really, I've been in a number of labs and I've seen all those millions spent, EU millions spent. And then when I try to find any economic activity afterwards, there's none. So, but you probably know from your countries what is the private spending and what is the government spending on the R&D. And in Latvia, it's one of the least favorable, just because part of what economic development shows is we have research which is on a higher level, but it's not statistically accounted. That's why we are so low. We couldn't grow as fast as we are. Look once again on exports growth. Here you have the imports and exports. Yes, there is some correlation with imports, but if you see the exports used to be where they used to be and what the imports were, so it's something which is much higher than it's right now possible. So we don't see any possibility to develop R&D if there is no private interest, because all those examples where we see that, I don't know if you have many examples where a scientist has developed something, then went out and made a global venture. We don't have too many of those. Those are really, really extremely small. Very often it's a scientist develops something, then he finds a businessman who wants to develop it, and now we have this risk capital which is going slowly in that. We have maybe 10 or 20 projects right now so far, where we have scientists together with an entrepreneur. They're developing this innovative business. They are getting this seed capital. And one of the examples which I can tell, which is Riga Technical University, they discovered that they can, in their water lab, they can do research on different kind of bacteria. And they thought, okay, this is nice water thing, we could sell it. And then they meet with an entrepreneur and he's checking around and saying, but nobody is interested in this fast, accelerated research. But you know what, we will try with the food industry. And then they go into food industry and they're asking, oh great, this sounds very interesting. If you could provide us with the testers which can check the milk, then we would be interested in having those testers, because then we will have a fast results. And what they did, they really did, and they returned to the lab and they developed the tester. Now the first 200,000 euros have been launched to this project to go worldwide. I hope we will see a success story in a couple of years, because the business plan is, of course, aiming it to all countries. And this is an innovation which really happens when you put together the business and the scientists, rather than just the scientists alone.
Jā, nu, strīds starp zinātniekiem un ražotājiem viņš ir pastāvis vienmēr. Es atceros, kad es biju vietējais rūpniecības ministrs Latvijā, mums bija tā pati problēma. Zinātni prasīja, lai vairāk viņiem dod, mums bija pašiem savs pētniecības institūts, lai vairāk dod naudas, un pēc tam, kad to naudu iedi un kaut ko viņi atklāja vai lika priekšā, tad rūpniecība nebija gatava ņemt to pretī. Bet es gribētu uz citu vērst uzmanību. Es darbojos arī, kā jūs ziniet, Eiropas parlamentu un Vidusāzijas valstu starpparlamentārā delegācijā. Un es varu apbrīnot, cik daudz naudas tie ir apmēram 3%, ko, piemēram, Kazahstāna atdod zinātnē. Cik mēs atdodam zinātnē? Mēs visai izglītībai un zinātnē kopā nesasniedzam 3%. Kāpēc? Par ko mēs te runājam? Ja mēs runājam par kaut kādiem sasniegumiem vispār zinātnē un ko mēs eksportējam, nu tad tā ir pagaidām tikai, cik es zinu, grindeks, un tas lielāko daļu arī visu to mums dod no tā, ko mēs tādu jaunatklājumus eksportējam. Nu tagad es lasu laikrakstos, ka būs sadarbība ar Ķīnu. Ķīnā daudz cilvēku, daudziem vajadzēja zāles, nu tad tur atkal būs, bet tas ir par maz. Ar vienu mazu nozari, ar vienu tādu tikai. Tad mēs pārdodam Baltkrievijā ražotas zāles, kas ir daudz lētākas. Par to jau te runāju, par to reeksportu it kā tādu. Tā kā problēmas tur ir, un man ir gandarījums, kad mēs esam trāpījuši, kā latvieši saka, naglai uz galvas. Tas ir problēmas, par kurām mums jādomā no visām pusēm, un tas nekas, ka mūsu domas atšķiras. Man liekas, ka taisnība ir, ka strīdā rodās patiesība, lai nu tas strīds mums arī izved uz jaunām pozīcijām, labām pozīcijām gan Eiropas Savienībā, gan pasaulē. Nu, teorētiski visas iespējas ir. Mans runātais saraksts ir izsmelts. Vai vēl kādam ir kas bilstams šajā sakarā? Lūdzu.
Et entendre les dernières interventions, je voudrais faire une petite réaction parce que je siège à la Commission Culture et Éducation du Parlement européen. Et ce type de discours, on l'a à la fois sur la recherche et à la fois sur l'éducation. Moi, je suis très inquiète de l'évolution des directions de l'Union européenne par rapport à ces sujets-là. On a effectivement, aussi bien, je répète, sur éducation que sur recherche, comment travailler avec les entreprises, comment rendre les entreprises plus compétitives. Et il me semble que quand on travaille comme ça, on a une vision que du court terme et on sacrifie l'avenir. Parce que notamment en matière de recherche, la recherche appliquée, dont les entreprises bénéficient, c'est loin d'être la totalité des questions de recherche. Je suis française, je vis dans un pays qui a longtemps énormément financé la recherche, sur lesquels les budgets sont de plus en plus sacrifiés. C'est d'ailleurs vrai en matière d'éducation. Donc, cette opposition entre ce que doit financer l'État, ce que doivent financer les entreprises, me paraît d'une incohérence totale si on vise l'avenir. Notre travail, me semble-t-il, est d'arriver à tout concilier. Je vais faire un exemple qui sera un peu provocateur et qui rejoint ce qu'on disait ce matin, que j'ai déjà dit ce matin d'ailleurs. Quand je vois l'Union européenne financer massivement la recherche en matière nucléaire et ne rien financer, ou quasiment rien, en matière d'énergie alternative, je me dis qu'il y a un réel problème. Parce que les entreprises qui se font des bénéfices en matière nucléaire, elles ont les moyens de financer la recherche. Elles n'ont pas besoin de ponctionner les crédits publics en la matière. Alors, à quoi sert l'État? À quoi servent les institutions publiques? Je crois que derrière ces questions-là, il y a cette question-là. Et je pense que vous êtes au cœur du débat, mais un peu trop sur la vision court terme.
It's not just only bad examples in Latvia, actually. Of course, not all private companies, they have a huge number of the funding to put that in different scientific approaches. But actually, what I see the positive in Latvia is Latvian Agriculture Ministry approach, how now they are communicate with the business and how they are organized the scientific researches, and the idea to let's put on one table scientists and business people, it's in my mind in a lot of cases unproductible, because you not convert all ideas to the high profit. It's impossible. But actually there is of course a lot of needs what business community to find a get answer. One such answer in agricultural field is the beet, honey, farmers were producing honey, and the pesticides what is using to different another agriculture, and the question was a correct research about the how large is this influence, and at least to calculate some fees for these farmers, not just like from the finger and somebody mention how it large is, and in Latvian Agriculture Ministry that was organized in manner then this problem was formulated from the industry, from the private sector, and Agriculture Ministry is funding independent researchers to find answer to this question, and this is a way how the science is giving answers for needs what is coming from industry, and with how this very high social importance, and maybe the same approach is for some disease which is coming now for pigs, or first idea, let's build some sort of the wall between Belarus, Russia, Lithuania, Ukraine, and the European Union will pay for it. But maybe the correct answer is to have some scientific institution what can give some recommendation what to do if such a disease outbreak is coming. But if they know such scientific answers, there is no institution that give some such answers. Then of course only one idea is spend money for some companies what will build a wall, but they not brings any effect.
Yes, I also can only mention that we are using also scientists for the different researches which are necessary also for the Ministry of Economics. And what we also do, we do interact with the researchers which are financed by EU. For example, when there's the University of Agriculture, when they have any researches done on the renewable energy or whatever the best biofuels can be, we do follow, we do meet with them, we do consider their findings. So it's not something that is totally out of the correspondence. But what we know that anyway in the research it is a risky area, and there will never be a 100% guarantee that something will happen, that we all know. So, but still there has to be a dedicated amount which goes into science as such, but then you need to have economic KPIs. But what most important, I lack at least in my country, is that we do not follow up. And that's why I've done over these 2 years, I've tried to follow up on what the results are on different researches and money spent, and whether the result which is foreseen is also the result which we really get. Because only then, not from the very vague comments, I like it or not, I've seen it or not, but when you have a real serious assessment of what the results of the research are and how they've been used then further on in economics, is very important. Because very often we find out that they've done research in one area, but because they met someone in the staircase of the scientific university, they've changed the idea, and at the very end it turned out to be in a totally different area, and it's usable in this other area. But it's only when you listen to those stories, you analyze and you research carefully on where it goes and how it can be used further on.
sorry, I have a message to you. You are maybe not most influential deputies from the European Parliament, but I have a message to you. And the things which is absolutely, in my mind, unethical is European Union as financing from the public money research. Then there is research, became a scientific article and published in a Thomson comparison. And to get scientific results which are financed by public money, I need to pay for some corporation money. And my message to you is, if all research that is financed by public money must be open. They are not became, should not be privatized and not became the property of the scientific magazine publishers. And this is, I think, a very important message, which should be all scientific public money should be open for all society, for all scientists, for all public, not to be privatized.
Beidzot, jautājums, kuram visi piekrīt. Paldies, Paiderkungs. Tā, varbūt vēl kādam ir kas sakams. Nu, ja nav, tad es gribu sirsnīgi visiem pateikties un mūsu reprezentētājiem, jo sevišķi. Es domāju, ka mums sanāca ļoti saturīga doma apmaiņa, un katrs no mums katrā ziņā kādu labu domu no visa tā aiznesīs pie sevis mājās, pārdomās un varbūt centīsies kaut kur viņu popularizēt un ieviest. Nu, tāda ir dzīve. Uz dzīvi var skatīties no dažādām pusēm, un arī secinājums katrs var izdarīt tādu, kādu viņam ir. Bet mēs te runājam nevienkārši par dzīvi, mēs runājam, būdami savos augstos amatos un atbildot ne tikai par savu, bet par savu valstu un savu vēlētāju dzīvēm. Tas ir vēl jau svarīgāks un vēl jau nopietnāks darbs. Tādēļ es gribētu, pabeidzot šo sarunu, novēlēt visiem sekmes un neļaunoties, ja kāda doma nav pieņemama vai kāds kritisks vārds ir pateikts, tas viss noteikti nāks par labu, lai mums visiem sokās. Un beigās divi paziņojumi. Pirmais, neaizmirstiet, kad rīt sākam 9:30. Šajā zālē 9:30 sāksim ar tikšanos ar Rīgas mēru. Tas ir pirmais. Un otrais, 19:00 šodien visus klātesošos, tulkus visus, tehnisko personālu, sekretariātu, visus aicinām uz vakariņām restorānā Panorāma. Uz redzēšanos 19:00. Paldies, visu labu!